Thanks for coming by, everyone. I appreciate it. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Reed, the crazy nutcase that does all sorts of stuff. Solar power, philosophy, and now even some politics stuff, but all sorts of things. If you want to learn about all sorts of a million things, hang around. And I appreciate you taking a look at the video. Now, this is actually about take, 50 or something, because I was trying to get onto this and then I ended up ranting. And it just doesn't do very much for the conversation when you start ranting and going crazy, because, you look like a loon. Just not helpful here. Now, if you're kind of wondering what's going on back here, well, I'm going to put up a nice green screen back here. We'll have some nice backgrounds, make this all look professional and shined up, get some better lighting and stuff like that. I'm working on it. Ordered a bunch of things to make some PVC stuff and all that. But, like I said, I'm working on polishing things up. So those that like the wonderful prettiness get to see it all and enjoy it. Now let's get on with this video. Today we're going to talk about the ever-loving crisis we have with our voting system. Now, if you're wondering if I'm biased, yeah, I'm biased. I have a side in this. I picked a side, I voted, and everything else. I was a participant in this whole election. So I'm going to try to minimize my bias and give everyone as much of a perspective as I can to show why we've got a big problem and it really needs to get addressed. I've been through elections where they didn't go the way I wanted, 1996, Clinton. Yeah, that one didn't go the way I wanted. I voted Green Party. I know you're probably like, what? What? Well, I'm big in solar and alternative energy, stuff like that, and I really hate the two-party system immensely. But, that's where I started out and stuff like that. And don't fully agree with the Greens because they started moving into another direction I don't particularly like. Socialism, communism, and all that stuff, And I've, last governor here in Mexico, the way it went, I wasn't a fan of that either. I really did not want to see her get in. I wanted Steve Pierce. So, I've been through my sides where they lost and all that stuff. And usually you just put it down and you're like, okay, let's just start getting ready for the next one, plan things out, get moving on there and move on. But this one I have a problem with. And a lot of the Republicans sure do as well. I mean, you've got like 73 million on Biden, 70 million on Trump's side, and a lot of people going, yeah, something's kind of fishy here. Something ain't right. And they got major questions. I've been debating with myself a whole bunch on this one. What is the correct course of action? Looking for guidance, pondering, thinking, prayer, all that sort of stuff, thinking, what do we do here? And we as a nation, we as a voter, and me specifically in my life, my situation, what do you do? Talk to my friends who give them lots of advice, like Steve, of course, our trainers. If you don't know who he is, go check him out. Tell him Crazy Old Reed sent you by. I encourage you to go look at his channel. He's been giving me a lot of good points like that because, he has a different perspective living out in California. A lot of advice he can give that's very useful to think about and ponder in this sort of situation. My friend Anthony, if you don't know who he is, Polymer Prepared. He's been a great also discusser in this, going back and forth so we can figure out what is the right answer. And honestly, I keep coming back to one big important thing. All it takes for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. Now, I'm not calling the other side evil, so don't go running off on that. Just that saying itself is very guiding, to repeat myself, in this point of view, right? That if you think something's really wrong, we should act to address it, to get things here. And the thing I'm after saying that's wrong is the election system and the perception of it right now, all right? We have a huge, huge problem that right now people have lost a lot of faith in the election, immense amounts of faith. 70 million people on Trump's side, and you've got a good percentage of them going, yeah, I'm calling BS here. Total bull, right? They're fired up. They're angry. And they ain't backing down. So they're going at this. And things are kind of popping up. But if you're rolling your eyes going, Reed, nothing happened, man. It's all just a wild theory. Nothing really happened at all. Why are you doing this? Well, I ask you to watch my deep dive video where we're going to go into a lot of stuff. We're going to go into the stuff I consider reasonable that the average person can look at and go, hey, that's an issue. The stuff that's a bit on the, X-Files side, we're going to keep ourselves out of that. We want this to be approachable. We want this to be things that any layman can go, yeah, that needs to be addressed. We need broad appeal and support here on that. So we're going to deep dive on the issues that the average person can definitely see and say, that's an issue. We're going to go right there. All the other stuff, just put it away. You start evangelizing other people, put it away. But like I said, wait for the deep dive video. We're going to go into that. With the faith in the system breaking down so much, the biggest problem we have is extremism begets extremism, all right? So even if we say the Democrats did no cheating whatsoever, nothing happened, nothing to see here. Problem is the perception. The Republicans are saying, yeah, this is wrong. This is horribly wrong. And the response from the media isn't helping at all. The response has been, you know what? You're wrong. You're crazy. Get with the program, you darn bleep, 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 bleep. Yeah, I mean, it's been every discussion all over the internets, the Facebooks, the Twitters, and all that has been, you lost, shut it up. Yeah, there's nothing to go on. We're not going to answer your questions. You don't deserve an answer. We want truth and reconciliation commissions. We want lists. We're going to punish you. That is not helping. That is throwing gas on the fire. Oh my gosh, is it ever throwing gas on the fire? Totally useless response, guys. Get your side under control is, what I want to say. But the reason why people seem to have, taken flight and run for the hills. And, I'm kind of thinking running for the hills myself is a good idea. But like I say, extremism begets extremism. What's going to happen is if you have a large percentage on these people, and so even if things clean over here, hands are clean, and they don't get their answers, they're going to say, you know what? It's open season. It's time for us to, put our fingers on the scale. You'll see a lot of shenanigans move forward. And then, if those aren't addressed well, because of, the new administration coming in goes, you know what? Yeah, let's just sweep that under the rug. Let's just keep going. We got the power now. Well, the extreme is going to beget on the other side. They're going to go, well, you know what? It's open season for us. We're going to do what we want. This is bad. This is severely bad. Because one of the sayings that I've often said about American elections that I've got a major issue with is they're not free, they're not open, and they as heck aren't transparent. Okay? It's like here, I detest the elections here is you get your ballot, you go fill it out, put all your bubbles in, you're like, okay, you feed it into a machine. Do I get anything back? No. Okay, if I do an absentee ballot, which is what I've done a couple of times, you fill it out, sign your name, put a stuff, secret envelope, inner envelope, lick it all, send it in. Do I get a notice they got it? Do I have anything? No. I mean, I can later check the voter rolls to see if, my name pops up that I actually voted. But as terms of, that it was tracked, counted and all that, no, it's not there. You don't have stuff like that. Imagine if the bank system ran like this, that if you went to go make a deposit, you would just, go in with your cash, give it to the teller. They wouldn't count it for all that. They would just kind of grab it, put it in a basket down below, and you walked off. Hopefully it shows up in your bank account. How many of you would out there be trusting that, right? So we're going to go in deep on the election system itself and say, here's how we got to address all this. And there's a lot to address. There's a lot we can do to make it that both sides can say, you know what? Yeah, that's going to be a lot more fair. That's going to be a lot more transparent and open. And yes, there's a way to actually do things where people can send in ballots and all that. But there's a lot to do. And really, whatever administration's in there, you have got to address this as fast as you can. Major voting reform. And that's why I'm going to make this deep dive video about everything we need to do for voting as a good blueprint to start with, because I'll probably miss a few things. You guys can add in the comments and all that stuff and share it with all your friends. Tell everyone else about it. Get them to look at it. But we need to address this as much as we possibly can and just hammer whatever administration's in charge. Hammer them hardcore to get voting reform done, to implement standards and safeguards across the nation. Because this kind of stuff, if this ever repeats like this again and soon, I think things are going to get a little hot. I think you're going to hear pew pew sounds flying around. Yeah, bad, like immensely bad. And that's the issue. The faith in the system is broken down. The faith is gone. And this puts us in a precarious, immensely dangerous situation. I mean, dangerous as heck. All it's going to take is for some idiot to start doing something idiotic, And then it's going to kick all sorts of problems off. And, what if? What if, we get some military people decide to take some action? They say, Trump, get your butt out of there. What if it's the other side? We're backing Trump. Biden, don't you even attempt it. Either one of those would be catastrophically bad, because at that point, saving the country, bringing things together, piecing this back together, gone. Its match has been lit. The place is burning down. Evacuate. There ain't any putting this out. This ain't saving it. It's just gone. And the country will never reestablish itself. It'll be balkanized, torn up. It'll be nothing like what it was. Just completely torn apart. And that's what I'm trying to avoid. I really don't want to see that come to pass. But I worry. I really worry, especially with how this election's turned out, how things happened. Yeah, it's bad. And the biggest problem I see is the media. Those people, we've got a huge, huge issue with. All right? And the thing I really am disturbed about is how they are owned and heavily sponsored by foreign money. Influence from outside the shores of America that directly oppose us in the things we want to accomplish, the things we want to do. They are directly against that, and they are pushing these people to do things. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. We need some media reform, and we need some major changes there. Stat. And the censorship coming out of big tech, oh yeah, I got major issues with that. We got to shut this down. Because you push people, you silence them, you cut them off, and it goes one way, where it's one group always getting cut out. It's extremism, pushing more extremism. People, once they think their voice and their ability to respond and their vote is gone, and once they say, we're not getting heard in the courts, we're not getting heard when we write to the government or addressed, we're getting ignored and sidelined, and our vote doesn't count, well, they might think of some other options that aren't really so peaceful. And let me say, I call it highly concerned, because like I said, I don't want to hear pew, pew, pew flying around. I really don't. I'd like to see this all addressed. Not as much as all those people talk about the next civil war is around the corner. At this moment, yeah, it is. But I don't really want to see it go hot and get there. I'd like to see things pieced up and patched and fixed to save things. So there's the message, all right? We got to do something. Now, if you're wondering, what can I directly do as a person? I got a video coming on that. I've researched and gossip like that. We're going to get it up as soon as I can. Feel free to disagree with me and say I'm completely wrong. That you're right. But you got to admit, it's more fair if we have everyone get a look. We go through this, we audit and all that stuff and say, yep, everything's good. By everyone saying, shut up and get in line, well, you can kind of see why the other side isn't liking that sort of response. Well, take care, everyone. A lot more videos coming up right away. I'm going to focus on this hard. I've been trying to keep up on the news and everything like that. It's changing constantly, but I'm just going to start putting it out a lot. And I hope I don't annoy you too much. If it seems like I'm spamming, I'm sorry. But we're going to probably go for quite a few videos. I'm going to try to make them real focused. This is sort of the overview here and why I am deeply concerned and why I feel motivated. We got to talk about these things and move forward here. Well, have a good night. This is Reed out.